October 14th, 1990. The room smells like ozone, stale pizza, and burning dust. In a cramped basement illuminated only by the radioactive glow of a green monochrome CRT monitor, a 24-year-old technician named Lucas is staring at something impossible. His computer, an Intel 386, struggling with a mere 4 megabytes of RAM, has just done something that defies the laws of physics. It hasn't dialed into a bulletin board system. It hasn't screeched the familiar agony of a modem handshake. Instead, a silent, invisible signal has locked onto his hardware. On the flickering screen, a single line of command prompt, text blinks, mocking the entire timeline of human history. Network found, time_protocol_v4, year 2011. Lucas doesn't know it yet, but he hasn't just found a glitch in his operating system. He has found a backdoor into the future economy. In exactly 5 minutes, he is going to download a white paper that hasn't been written yet. He is going to mine a currency that doesn't exist. And by doing so, he is going to accidentally purchase the entire world, destroy capitalism, and force his own future self to travel back in time to kill him. This isn't just a story about Bitcoin. This is the story of the man who broke reality. Lucas was the definition of mediocre. He fixed printers for a living and spent his nights trying to overclock processors that had no business running faster than a snail. That night, however, was different. He had rigged a custom antenna using a coat hanger and a stolen piece of military-grade copper wire he'd swiped from a scrapyard. He was trying to catch satellite TV signals for free. Instead, he caught a leak in the space-time continuum. The signal wasn't broadcasting MTV, it was broadcasting the Internet of 2011. It was unstable, barely a trickle of data, but it was enough to access a specific text-based forum. The header read, HeywoodBitcoinTalk.org. Confused, Lucas navigated the threads using his arrow keys. He read a post by a user named Satoshi Nakamoto. The date on the post was January 9th, 2009. Lucas looked at his wristwatch. It was 1990. His brain tried to rationalize it as a prank, a complex piece of hacker fiction, but the code was right there. Source code, clean, elegant, and mathematically perfect. Driven by curiosity and the thrill of the impossible, Lucas copied the code onto his hard drive, a compiled Italiano. The difficulty adjustment algorithm, designed to regulate the creation of Bitcoin based on global computing power, looked at the network. It saw nothing, zero hash rate. Lucas was the only node in the universe. He hit enter, the fan on his 386 word, like a dying jet engine. In 1990, mining a block didn't take 10 minutes. Because there was zero competition, Lucas mined the first 50 blocks in under 3 seconds. Then the next 1,000, then 10,000. He wasn't just mining, he was stripping the blockchain bare before it was even born. By sunrise, he had successfully mined over 2 million Bitcoin, storing the cryptographic keys on a stack of 3 5-inch floppy disks labeled Doom 2 Backup. He didn't know what they were worth, but the forum threads from the future had mentioned a price, $20,000 per coin. He did the math, laughed nervously, and threw up in his trash can. Armed with knowledge from the forum archives, Lucas didn't just sit on his digital hoard. He began to make phone calls. He located a young Jeff Bezos, who was still working at a hedge fund, and offered him an investment for a bookstore idea that Jeff hadn't even told his wife about yet. He sent anonymous letters to 2 students at Stanford named Larry and Sergey, giving them the algorithm for PageRank 5 years early. He didn't just invest, he accelerated. With the massive capital he accumulated by predicting stock market crashes and booms with godlike accuracy, Lucas forced the technological timeline into hyperdrive. The 1990s didn't look like the 1990s. By 1995, dial-up was dead, replaced by fiber optics funded by Lucas's Shadow Corporation. By 1998, smartphones were commonplace. The dot-com bubble never burst. It just solidified into a diamond. But consequences are a heavy chain. By 2005, the world was unrecognizable. The acceleration of technology had bypassed necessary social evil. Artificial general intelligence had been achieved in 2003, owned entirely by Lucas Industries. Energy was free, generated by fusion reactors built on designs Lucas stole from 2040 schematics he found later in the data stream. On paper, it was a utopia. Poverty was eradicated. Disease was managed by but the economy, the engine of human struggle and ambition, had completely collapsed. Lucas held 99.9% of the world's wealth. Money had no velocity because there was nowhere for it to go. People didn't work. They didn't create. They existed in a dopamine-saturated stupor, plugged into VR headsets, living out synthesized fantasies because reality offered no challenges. Lucas, now 39 years old, sat on a throne in a floating citadel above Neo-Tokyo, formerly New York. He was the Emperor of Earth, a title he never asked for. He was miserable. He had everything, which meant he had nothing. The thrill of the struggle, the joy of earning a paycheck, the fear of failure, it was all gone. Humanity had been domesticated like house cats. Desperate to feel something, Lucas had begun integrating with the technology he birthed. He replaced his limbs with cybernetics, hooked his brain directly into the global cloud, trying to find a spark of chaos in the order A-phoned none. He realized the terrifying truth. By stealing the future, he had deleted the present. Then, the sky tore open, not a metaphor. The actual fabric of reality above his citadel ripped like wet paper. From the breach descended a figure clad in chrome and misery. It was Lucas. But not the Lucas of 2005. This was Lucas from the original timeline, or perhaps a timeline further down, this cursed spirula fully mechanized cyborg, a machine god stripped of all humanity. This future Lucas had run the simulations and realized that the only way to save the human soul was to restore the struggle. The timeline had to be pruned. The singularity had to be stopped at the source. The battle did not take place in the sky. Future Lucas activated a chronoport, a jagged ring of temporal energy, and vanished. 2005, Lucas watched on his monitors as the signal traced back to 1990. Back to the basement. He realized with horror that he was the target. The future was coming to kill the past, to save the world. October 14th, 1990. Young Lucas was reaching for a celebratory soda after mining his millionth coin. Suddenly, the air pressure in the basement dropped. Sparks showered from the ceiling as a Terminator-esque entity materialized amidst the classic rock posters. The cyborg Lucas didn't speak. It raised a weaponized arm, charging a plasma cannon that hummed with the energy of a dying star. Young Lucas, terrified, did the only thing a panicked nerd could do. He threw his heavy CRT monitor at the intruder. The monitor bounced harmlessly off the cyborg's force field. The machine stepped forward, its logic cold and flawless. Your greed deletes the human spirit. The cyborg's voice synthesized, vibrating the very concrete of the floor. Delete the data, or be deleted. Young Lucas scrambled backward, tripping over cables. He looked at the floppy disks. He looked at the cyborg. He realized this monster was him. This cold, unfeeling machine was the endgame of his shortcuts. He had tried to cheat life, and life had become a cheat code fun for 5 minutes. Boring forever. The cyborg raised the cannon for the kill shot. It calculated the trajectory, accounting for wind, gravity, and fear. But it failed to account for the mess. Young Lucas kicked a half-open can of Jolt Cola sitting on his desk. The sticky, sugary liquid flew through the air, splashing not onto the cyborg, but into the exposed circuitry of the time rift generator the cyborg had used to arrive. The machine sparked. The logic loop faltered. Error. Temporal anchor destabilized. The cyborg screeched. "I don't want it." Young Lucas screamed, "I don't want to be you!" He grabbed the box of floppy disks, billions of dollars. The Empire. The future, and he didn't run. He grabbed a giant, terrifying neodymium magnet he used for wiping drives and slammed it onto the box. The magnetic field ripped through the magnetic storage of the floppies. The data scrambled. The Genesis block dissolved into noise. The private keys were obliterated. Instantly, the future collapsed. The cyborg flickered. The chrome melted away, revealing nothing but air. The plasma cannon vanished. The floating citadel in 2005. The fusion reactors. The cure for death, all of it evaporated from the timeline as the causal loop snapped. The weight of the future lifted off the room. Lucas sat alone in the dark. The computer screen was dead. The smell of ozone faded, replaced by the smell of wet carpet and soda. He was poor. He was a nobody. He had just destroyed more wealth than had ever existed in human history. And for the first time in hours, he felt his heart racing. He felt fear. He felt alive. The scene shifts. The year is 2024. The camera pans down a busy street. It's a normal world. There is traffic. There is pollution. People are rushing to jobs. They hate to buy things they don't need. It's messy, chaotic, and imperfect. We see a man in his late 50s working at a hardware store counter. It's Lucas. He's wearing a blue vest. His hands calloused from years of honest manual labor. He's not an emperor. He's not a god. He's just a guy selling hammers. A customer hands him cash for a bag of nails. Lucas opens the register. He pauses, picking up a single, dirty penny from the drawer. He looks at Abraham Lincoln's profile on the copper. He flips it in the air, catches it, and smiles a genuine, wrinkled smile. He remembers the chrome monster. He remembers the floating city of boredom. He looks out the window at the messy, struggling world, and he whispers to himself, "Keep the change." Imagine having the power to fix your entire life with a single piece of code, only to realize that the struggle is exactly what makes you human. It's a terrifying thought, isn't it? If you were Lucas, would you have destroyed the disk? Or would you have risked becoming the machine? I want to see your answers in the comments right now. Would you take the shortcut? If this story blew your mind, you know what to do. Smash that subscribe button so you don't miss the next paradox. Hit the like button to feed the algorithm, and turn on that notification bell. We are building a timeline of our own right here, and you don't want to be left in the past. Catch you in the future.